Calaroga Shark Media.
Today will be a little different because of the stories. I didn't go out of my way to do a special episode, but there's interesting stuff out there. We'll get a little political-ish. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. I was on social media, and somebody pointed out about this comedy concert coming on September 10th. Told you about this yesterday. New York City still rising after 25 years. A 9/11 charities comedy benefit at Madison Square Garden. Told you the details yesterday. Jon Stewart and Pete Davidson putting this together. And somebody pointed out the lineup. Okay, you ready? Aziz Ansari, who played the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Bill Burr, who played the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Dave Chappelle, who played the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Ronny Chieng, who played the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Isn't this lineup curious? Pete Davidson, whose father, Scott Davidson, was killed on 9/11. Pete Davidson played the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Nikki Glaser, who did not play said festival. Josh Johnson, who did not play said festival. And, of course, Jon Stewart, and we're told plus special guest. But isn't that interesting? The first 3, 4, 5 names on the thing are also played Riyadh. New York City still rising, September 10th, Madison Square Garden. It's the 25th anniversary of the terrorist attacks on New York City on September 11th, 2001. They say never forget. I'm now finding people are in their mid-20s and have no memory of this and don't feel it the same way us older people do. I'm wondering if New York City Mayor Mamdani will be invited, and will he come? And if he does come, what the reaction will be. I don't want to get too political today, but that could be an interesting situation. Speaking of Mayor Mamdani, and he's been in the news all week, one of his supporters is comedian Mary Beth Barone. She had a Netflix special earlier in the week, and she went on the We're Not Kidding podcast with Mehdi Hassan. They made a little montage of some of the things they talked about. Here's Mary Beth Barone.
How did you get involved supporting Mamdani?
I felt like this was a good person to put in front of as many voters as possible.
You slid into Zoran's DMs.
I slid into Zoran's DMs.
What do you think of all the socialist wins recently?
I think they had clear platforms and they campaigned well. It's actually not that hard, I don't think.
Mary Beth Barone was also asked what she thinks of the Democratic Party establishment, and she said, I think they should retire so they can trade stocks to reckless abandon. Go out on your boats and live your lives in your mansions. Just get out of politics because it's ticking me off. Last week at the JFL Montreal Just for Laughs Comedy Festival, it was the annual State of the Industry. This year, giving the State of the Industry were Jurden and Gianmarco Soresi. Gianmarco was going to put that out on his YouTube channel. That was happening between me recording this and you hearing this. I assume it's actually up now if you want to go look for it. The folks at Deadline took some notes while they were there in the room with them. I'll pick away at this. Jurden said, we're two of the few comedians who were skinny before Zempic. Soresi said, we're like if John Mulaney and Gerard Carmichael were willing to do this. Jurden said, we decided to take a note from the success of Heated Rivalry and have one actual queer guy and a straight guy who will play gay as long as it advances his career. Soresi, neither of our teams wanted us to do this gig. I just wish they showed the same restraint around Riyadh. Gianmarco again, we're both former Just for Laughs new faces, which used to launch comedy celebrities and now just gets you employed by Just for Laughs. Gianmarco again, as we all know, JFL went bankrupt and came back as a weaker version of what it once was. It should be renamed the Dane Cook Comedy Festival. Wow. Gianmarco again, and you could tell, I mean, if you've listened to the show, you know I love him, and these are really funny with me reading them. Gianmarco again, some people judge Tony Hinchcliffe for opening a Trump rally. I judge him for bombing a Trump rally. That's like me bombing at a Tony Awards watch party. Jurden, let me set the record straight. A lot of people say that Tony's gay. I know Tony isn't gay because he's not funny or interesting. They talked about Tony Hinchcliffe's new special. Gianmarco said, did he film the new one in Montreal? Because it had just 4 laughs. That's great. They talked about Shane Gillis. Gianmarco, 76,000 people at one show is insane. Say what you will about his politics. Shane's done more than any Democrat to get ICE off the streets. We could end the whole immigration problem if he co-headlined with Gabriel Iglesias. That's hilarious. Nate Bargatze, the subject. Gianmarco crushing here. We got to watch this. I'll pull some clips when he posts it. Gianmarco said, Nate Bargatze, or some are now calling him Jeff Fox Newsworthy. That's awesome. Betrayed many fans when he appeared at the UFC match on the White House lawn, but that wasn't nearly as bad as when he told his fans to see his new movie Breadwinner in theaters. Breadwinner was so bad, people were praising Colin Jost's performance. Gianmarco again, Theo Vaughn is the only comedian whose haircut is worse than Otzko's. Some other comedians got name-checked. Gianmarco again. Since this State of the Industry address has started, Ali Sadiq has released 4 new stand-up specials, Jay said, and at the same time, Josh Johnson has released 4 specials explaining those Ali Sadiq specials to white people. And final topic, Carlos Mencia. Jay Jurden said, Carlos Mencia was charged with tax evasion. The IRS are the only people who didn't forget about him. Great stuff there, guys. All right, the AV Club caught this one. It is the Comedy Fee Tracker, a new project from comedy journalist and critic Seth Simons. Using public information obtained through the Freedom of Information Act, the Comedy Fee Tracker is a searchable database of talent contracts. This is fun. Simons told the AV Club via email that the project began with an investigation into SNL's return to live audiences during COVID. 5 years later, he's amassed a nice, quote, little library of information by requesting receipts from public venues. Do you want to know how much everyone makes? You do, and I do too. All right, Louis C.K. apparently makes anywhere between $117,000 and $235,000 an hour. According to this report, Adam Devine, $51,500 for an hour of comedy at the University of Florida. His opener, Adam Ray, spelled R-E-Y here, so I don't know if it's the same one, pulled in $500 for an hour. I guess that's a different Adam Ray. Simons writes, maybe this is naive, but it shocked me to see that Colin Jost was getting paid $70,000 to do an hour of stand-up at the University of Illinois, and that his openers were getting $5,000 apiece. This is going to cause a lot of trouble. This is going to upset people. Crystalia made $130,909 reportedly for a 2023 show at the Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall in Portland, Oregon. Now, if you want to check this out yourself, it is at humorism.xyz. Humorism.xyz. Seth Simons here. Let's just do it. He writes, Dave Chappelle, 2 documented records, and quotes the numbers 236,000 to 339,738. Kevin Hart, 2 documented records, 20,000 and 234,806. Jim Gaffigan, who won't call you back if you help him early in his career, he doesn't care, between $75,000 and $154,080, according to 5 documented records. Pete Davidson, $27,500 to $129,960 in 4 documented records. Matt Rife, 2 records, $194,735 to $365,596. Jerry Seinfeld, 1 documented record from 2023, $618,106. Stephen Colbert, 1 documented record in 2021, $300,000. Theo Vaughn, 2 records, $240,269 to $277,985. In October 2019, John Mulaney performed at the University of Rhode Island's annual family weekend, earning a fee of $140,000. A few days later, writes Seth Simons, Mulaney headlined the homecoming show at the University of Maryland, which paid him $175,000. Again, humorism.xyz, so if you're wondering how much your favorite comedians make, now you know.
Comedy stock market.
Thank you, Burt Reynolds. Maybe I should do some more homework on that comedy, how much everybody made tracker thing I just told you about and see who we should actually be investing in. Apparently there's good money in Colin Jost. All right, my recommendations this week. Last week I gave you 8. I only have 3 this week. They are Mary Beth Barone. Now, I'm not digging what she's selling, but it seems like they're trying to make her a thing. And the idea here is to find value in the comedian. So let's buy a little bit on Mary Beth Barone, but just a bit. Again, I'm not feeling it. Let's buy some Stavros Halkias. Why, John? Because of the story I bumped from the script. It didn't actually read to you. It was going to go before the break, but we're getting a little long. So you'll have to listen over the weekend to see why we're buying some Stavros Halkias. The short version is he's got a new special coming out. And I am doing a normal episode tomorrow. I had some ideas for some deep dives, and I wasn't feeling any of them, and I don't want to force any of it. So tomorrow's a normal episode. Sunday's a normal episode. And let's buy some Jimmy Fallon. Here's why. We'll segue here. So we're buying Mary Beth Barone, buying Stavros, and buying Jimmy Fallon. USA Today was one of several publications that wrote a nice fluff piece about Jimmy Fallon. His PR people are getting the message out there. And USA Today tells us Jimmy Fallon is experimenting with new formats, including a short-form microdrama series. Yeah. Remember earlier in the week, Comedy Central, they had their 30th anniversary of The Daily Show, and they're like, hey, we're putting out a new micro series. And Jimmy Fallon went, yes, so are we first. USA Today tells us Jimmy Fallon can't sit still. Part of the problem is that he has spilled salad dressing on his khaki pants. More than a few drops, a hand-sized explosion. Salad dressing on khaki pants is going to look like a whole thing. You know what I'm saying? You do. I don't have to describe it to you. That's going to be a problem. We are told that at age 51, Jimmy knows he needs to be healthy, hence the salad. His lunch, we're told, was Pura Vida salmon with avocado. Sleek silver weights taunt him From the floor of his corner office at 30 Rock, they're a counterbalance to the cookies and large bowl of popcorn on his oval table, where his Tonight Show writers meet regularly. This is quite the fluff piece. Congratulations, PR team. Jimmy and his team have been busy. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is coming off a major week with the World Cup and most of the stars of the Odyssey coming by. All this, Johnny Mac will point out, why Jimmy Kimmel took the summer off. Jimmy, nobody likes summers off more than I do. Believe me, I took Friday off and pre-taped the whole weekend on Wednesday. I feel you, Jimmy Kimmel. But you're opening the door for Fallon to come in, and Jimmy Fallon is a survivor. Maybe Kimmel doesn't care. Maybe Kimmel is walking away, but I don't think so. If somebody hands you the late night crown, grab it, or Jimmy Fallon's going to take it from you. Back to the USA Today article. They write, the double whammy led to viral hits, including a retelling of the Odyssey in 60 seconds, and Holland versus Holland, in which Jimmy Fallon compares the Spider-Man star to the Norwegian soccer star. That pushed Jimmy Fallon to number 1, adults 18 to 49. Now, I hadn't seen that reported elsewhere, but I don't think USA Today would make that up. I know it was close when I read you the numbers from Late Nighter the other day. On Monday, Jimmy Fallon launched the show's first microdrama, one of those ultra-short, fast-paced video series with 1 to 2 minute episodes shot vertically for smartphones. Jimmy said, it seems to be the kind of the trend, so we wanted to spoof it as soon as we could, beating The Daily Show to the punch. Well done. Jimmy says, I don't even know if it's funny. I could take a guess. We're told, with Colbert's departure, Fallon feels some responsibility to carry late night into the next generation. Jimmy says the idea of it is that just someone that you can talk to that's there for you, that you can laugh, and you know what's going on in pop culture in the world. I think that's just needed. They look back at Fallon taking over The Tonight Show from Jay Leno back in 2014. I know in your mind you think he took over for Conan, but no, remember? Jay Leno came back. Yeah. Fallon said, I remember coming out the first night, and I wanted to explain to everybody who hadn't seen The Tonight Show what it is. These are the Roots. They're the greatest band on earth. This is Steve Higgins. He's our announcer. We'll banter back and forth. I read some jokes based on what's going on in the news, and then I go sit over there and interview celebrities, and then we'll have a musical guest. A breakdown, though. Right out of the gate, Jimmy relied less on interviews than his predecessors, with 37% of his show devoted to talk, compared with 51% for Jay Leno, Johnny Carson, Seth Meyers, and David Letterman, and 48% for Jimmy Kimmel. As for monologues, Jimmy spent 23% of his time on comedy sketches and 14% on music. It was a recipe for the digital age, says USA Today in this fluff piece. They talked about COVID. Jimmy tells a story. When COVID happened, I went home and my wife was like, so what's the plan? I go, I think we're off for 2 weeks. She's like, you're not going to be off. You have to get out there. You have to do the show from your phone because everyone's going through this right now. They need you. This is why you do what you do. People asked Jimmy Fallon for advice. He said, I'm like, do it because you like it. Don't do it for the money. I'm very lucky. There's money in it for me now, but there's no money in this. If you do it because you like it, you can do it forever. As a guy recording a podcast in the basement, I think those are wise words from Jimmy Fallon. And that is your comedy news for today. Again, normal episode tomorrow and Sunday and Monday and the day after that and the day after that. See you then.